What's up, Produce Like a Pro fam? I'm Matt McQueen, and I'm coming at you today from my studio in beautiful East Tennessee with a video about my 5 favorite plugins for mixing. And we're going to be looking at a song that I produced and mixed right here called Sinners Like Me. It's a country song, and it features a beautiful female vocal from my friend Sydney Adams, and we're going to look at my 5 favorite plugins on some of the sources in this mix. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so let me just say before we jump into the list that this is in no particular order. These are 5 plugins that I love to use and that I'm using regularly or using frequently now, but the order of that they're going to show up in this video is just the order that I listed them in on my little notepad here. So we're going to start with plugin number 1 on the list. KORNEFF Audio's Amplified Instrument Processor. This is a channel strip for electric guitars, but you can also use it on bass. You could use it on pedal steel guitar. I've used it on that, and we're going to check it out on a lead guitar in the first chorus of this song. Let me tell you about a couple of the features of this plugin that make it really, really cool. First of all, the high pass and low pass filters are very gentle, so you can clean up sort of the unnecessary low end and unnecessary top end on an electric guitar without it kind of ruining the stuff that you need to save that's right after those filters. It also has a fantastic little VCA compressor on here that is good for just making sure that if it's a lead line, it just stays right where it's supposed to be, which is what I'm using it for on this part of the song. And then also the insufferable mid-range filter. I love that name, and that's really good at getting whistle tones out of live guitar cabinets. So let's listen to the chorus of this song with the plugin turned on, and then I'll bypass it.
Sinners like me have to try a little harder. Just stay on the right side of their road. Yes,
So really good for cleaning up that top end and that bottom end. And then also I really like this 1500 hertz. Let me show you that. That's a really good little little brightening, mid-range boosting kind of frequency there. It's real wide, but it also just, it sounds really pretty, I think. And then here's that insufferable mid-range filter. Let's listen to it in the song again.
sinners like me have to try a little harder. Just stay on the right side of their road. Yes, I have always been a fighter.
I love it. Really good at helping to keep the electric guitar out of the way of that lead vocal, but also make it so that you do hear a little bit more presence off of that electric guitar, and you get to hear it as the hook there. All right, next plugin, we're going to look at the solo section, but we're going to look at the bass guitar, and we're going to talk about one of my really, really favorite plugins. This is the AROUSER, Empirical Labs AROUSER. I love a distressor. There's a ton of distressor plugins out there. Avid Smack, in case you didn't know, that's sort of a distressor plugin. And then, of course, you've got T-Rex's compressor. You've got UAD's version of the distressor. You've got the Slate FG Stress. My favorite out of all those is the AROUSER, which, you know, you could argue that's not really a distressor because, Matt, there's more ratios on there and there are more controls. Yeah, it's true. It's not really a distressor, but it does distressor stuff, and it also has extra features, which is why I like mixing with it. The attack modification, that knob is great. Saturation, who doesn't want to add more saturation? I got a couple of distressors here, use them on all kinds of sources. Bass guitar, vocals, drum room mics, snare drum, fantastic sounding. We're gonna listen to it on a bass guitar. I've got it on the DI here. I'm gonna solo the DI. And what we're listening for is that you can even see on the screen here, we've got a few notes here that are really loud, and then a couple like this guy right here that are played very, very soft, and I want to even that out, all right? So we are gonna listen to that, and we're gonna listen to what this arouser does to really make this performance sound a lot more consistent depending on the note that's being played, making them more even from start to finish. So here we go. Fantastic, works really good, sounds really good. That attack modification you can hear is really helping to keep the plucked parts from getting too crazy sounding. I might even speed the attack up a little bit. There's one that I heard that kind of poked out just barely, but sounding really good and much more consistent than without it. Way more consistent, way more consistent. And in the track, let's turn it off and on there too. Yeah, I think that's really, really helping to keep the low end sounding right. There's some bus compression happening down on the line down here. The bass is definitely, the low end is not reacting the same way with the compressor turned off. Okay, plugin number 3, we're checking out the Sunset Sound T-Rex Studio Reverb. This is a fantastic reverb plugin. Ever since I got it, I cannot live without it. It sounds so beautiful, so realistic. I've actually been to Sunset Sound. I've heard these chambers. I've also heard them in videos that you can listen to on the internet, but I've been there in real life. I got to go there and do a Produce Like a Pro masterclass with Warren that I was working for Produce Like a Pro at the time, and I was running the live stream for that. But fun fact, the first time that I ever went to Sunset Sound was for Warren's 50th birthday party. I know what you're thinking. There's no way that that dude is 50. He doesn't look a day over 35, but it's true. I actually went there for his birthday party. All right, so we are going to listen to this on some drums. All right, so let's go ahead and solo the reverb up, solo the drums, and here we go. What you should be hearing is that the apparent width of that snare and is just getting a little bit wider. It's only on the snare and it's only on the toms, and that's the main thing that I'm doing, is trying to just make that snare drum just sound a little bit more wide in the mix. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna solo or unsolo everything, and we're gonna listen to it in the mix now, and I'm gonna turn the reverb on and off. Very subtle, but very, very easy to use. I just pulled up this Chamber Studio 3, and then I added a little bit of pre-delay to it, and I played with the decay time until it felt right. And that were the only changes that I made to the plugin. All right, now that I have sort of spoiled the surprise and already showed you the solo section, and you heard that it's a pedal steel guitar, I'm gonna show you the pedal steel guitar with what's probably my favorite plugin of all time. This is Waves MV2. It's super easy to use. It's just 3 sliders. You've got a low-level slider that is kind of a compressor that's going to push up the quieter stuff, and then you've got a high-level slider that you just bring down to kind of tame anything that's poking out, and then you've got your output slider to get it to sit in the mix. This particular pedal steel solo, played by my good buddy Kyle Roop. He's an amazing, amazing pedal steel player, and he should be your first call if you're gonna hire a pedal steel player, okay? Maybe you know somebody and they're your friend and you should call them, but Kyle is my friend. He's who I call first, all right? And this solo sounds fantastic. I want everybody to hear every note of it, and that's what we're using MV2 for, all right? Let's check it out. All right, let's go ahead and solo it up. You can hear the electric guitar coming in there at the end, and I will bypass it and then I'll turn it back on. It's gonna be subtle. You're gonna hear it lightly just lift the quieter notes, and you're gonna also hear it just kind of hold the stuff that's maybe a little bit louder in place. All right, let's check it out. Man, I love me some pedal steel guitar, and that one sounds great. Last but not least, we've got MICROSHIFT. This is a fantastic plugin. It can do everything from sort of subtle, just adding some kind of width to a sound. You can make fake doubles with this thing. It's really cool for that sort of stuff. This is actually going on a pedal steel part that's already in stereo, but it's adding just a little bit of perceived width because it's sort of a background ambient kind of texture. All right, so it's gonna be very subtle, but it's great at stuff like this. And I've just got the mix cranked all the way up. I've got the focus at about 2 o'clock, and the detune is at about 3 o'clock, and then the looseness is almost all the way up. And this is something that I just kind of dialed in by ear. We're using style 2. Here's what it sounds like without it, and then I'll turn the plugin on halfway through. So it's just sort of adding a subtle kind of chorusing feature, right? But this is great for that sort of thing. I just want to show you this verse tremolo guitar. If you've never played around with this before, I usually will just try this out on different sources just to see if it's cool or not. And I use the mono to stereo version like that. It makes it in stereo, and let's just go ahead. We'll listen to this verse guitar. Let's listen to it without it first. That's really cool. That's really cool. I actually might keep that on there. I didn't actually do that when I was originally mixing the song, but maybe I'll keep that on there and send a new one to the mastering engineer. All right, so that's my 5 favorite plugins. I hope you enjoyed this. If you got any questions, I'll be lurking down in the comments. Leave them for me. I'd love to answer them, and I'd also love to hear what are your 5 favorite plugins, and if any of you are mixing country music. All right, so leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. I've been Matt. This is Produce Like a Pro. I'll see you next time.